Well, guys, it's about time that we get into Season 3, and honestly, I'm really excited about it. I know that sounds weird because we went 5-7 last season, but really, we brought in a really great class, we got a new defensive coordinator, and our overall has really crept up a little bit. Plus, we're going to make a couple changes this season, which I think are really going to benefit us. The first one being that we're going to change our offensive playbook to Oregon's spread offense. That is what our offensive coordinator likes to run, and honestly, I think that could be really good for our team too. I know this one isn't going to benefit us this season, but we are going to end up redshirting Cantrell and Crumpler. They are two best freshmen that we ended up bringing in, and I would really like to have them for an extra season. So I think this is going to help us down the line. It's going to make us a little bit better. And honestly, I think I'm going to take Doug Davis and actually move him up to the third quarterback. I know that Tuplata Johnson has been our third string for pretty much this entire rebuild, but I want to see Davis see the field potentially. But honestly, I think that the change, especially to the playbook, is going to be a really positive one for us this season. Hopefully that'll actually produce some really good results. But of course, as always, let's end up going to all of the California recruits and let's see who we can get. And actually, the number one recruit is from California. We're going to put him on our list. I don't know if he's going to actually want to come to San Diego State, but hell, it's worth a shot. And I know we're aiming really high with some of these four-star recruits, but I mean, we really need some really good players on this team. And we're kind of taking this one kind of from the playbook of the North Carolina rebuild. I think that maybe if we can get some of these guys, it's going to work out for the best for us. Plus, I know that we have a very limited amount of 4- and 5-star players that we can go after because of the limitation of California. So again, if we can nail down some of these guys, I think that'd be really great. But unfortunately, we do only have 500 hours, and that is going to be a big limitation here. So we really need to be able to spread these hours out quite a bit, and we might actually have to guess on some of these guys for their scouting too. So with that limitation, unfortunately, we can only look at a handful of guys, and then we're going to take a flyer on these 4 guys right here because we're pretty high up on their board, and they're in positions that we really need, so may as well give it a shot. So hopefully, as we move on to the next week, we're not going to get shut out by anyone, but even if we do, maybe we'll keep them on the list anyways, but doesn't really matter as we see that no one has, and we're number 1 on a couple guys' boards. However, it does look like we're going to be playing week 0 this year. Obviously, we're not going to be playing it because we got no one visiting, but still, it's actually cool to see. We're going to get to see how our team's going to do early in the season. Now, even worse than the 500 hours that we had in that first week, we only have 400 now, so we're not really going to be able to look at a lot of guys, especially early on, but we're going to have to kind of pick and choose who we really want to focus on. And I think that means that we're really going to have to prioritize positions that we're really going to need, like defense, obviously in the secondary. And even though Teamer is a bust here, still got some pretty good stats. So obviously we're going to keep him on here, and hopefully we can actually get him to commit. Obviously, he's a 4-star for a reason. Granted, I probably shouldn't say that because that's not necessarily true. But again, even though we only have like 100 hours left, I think we're going to spread it out amongst these 4 guys. Obviously, I wish that we could send the house, but with our limited hours, we just have to take what we can get. So let's look forward into week 1. Obviously, this is week 0 right now as we take on number 12, UCLA. So again, we're going to have to probably take this result with a grain of salt, but hopefully we can actually see a pretty close game on the other side of the screen. And not only was it a close game, but we ended up winning. Maybe that change of the playbook was exactly what we needed. So I actually kind of want to see what the score was. Actually, it wasn't even incredibly close, 31-19. I'm actually kind of curious. Duffy played pretty well, 282 touchdowns, and not great on the ground. Sutton definitely needs to improve, but he still ended up getting a touchdown, and Rainey ended up scoring 1 on the ground as well. Tanner, 91 and a touchdown. Brooks, 89 and a touchdown. We know who the leading receivers are going to be this season. All right, now the good news is we ended up moving up to number 3 on Pratt's board. It would be really nice to be able to land him. So we're going to end up DMing him and also searching his social media. Hopefully that'll move us up the board a little bit more. And now we're going to be able to distribute these hours among some other guys as well, especially some of these guys that were number 1 on the list. We really want to make sure that we stay there. So let's end up adding 10 to Troutwian. Probably going to mispronounce that all season, so my bad. Hopefully we can get to top 5s pretty soon just so we can actually hard sell, free up a couple hours and all that kind of good stuff, be able to bring them in on visits, be able to free up some hours. But let's get through this game against Oregon State at home. Hopefully we can come out with another win. Imagine starting 2-0 this season. Oh, that's exactly what we do. 2-0, let's go. But we are finally at a point where a couple guys are up in their top 5, and that means that we can start to hard sell, especially if we kind of know what they want. And especially for him, I feel like we can kind of go by process of elimination because it can be aspirational and it could also be absolutely nothing else. So let's go with the aspirational. But since we were able to free up a couple hours, I actually think that Javier Armour is going to be the better option here over Valdez, only because I feel like we're going to need a center or, offensive lineman more than we need a wide receiver. So let's schedule him for a visit pretty early on here against Wyoming at home. And let's see if we can actually get him to sign pretty early. That'd be really great, especially as a 4-star. But unfortunately, again, with our limited hours, not much else we can really do. I'm going to have to place those coach points, though. Maybe that'll actually help out a little bit. But apparently, I scheduled 2 bye weeks back-to-back. Not that I necessarily chose to schedule, but still. And unfortunately, that leaves us again with only 40 hours this week. We're going to have to place some back on a couple of these guys that I took them off of, just to make sure that we can get them as we see that we're only number 3 on Miranda's list. But since I feel like we're doing pretty fine in this race right here, I feel like we can actually take off the send the house. We're going to just contact friends and family, and we're going to find a place to free up another 15 just so we can schedule someone else for this visit too. In fact, it might actually have to be Pratt. But unfortunately, since I'm not 100% sure if it's Hometown Hero or it's going to be Grassroots, I think we're going to have to hold off on the hard sell, but we will end up bringing him in for a visit. But that will require us to hard sell a couple other guys as well, but since a lot of them are up in their top 5 now, I feel like we can do that. So again, I really want to make sure that we bring Pratt in as early as possible, and that is, of course, going to be next week against Wyoming. And if we're going to sell anything, I think it's going to have to be that proximity to home. And I'm sorry, we actually had one more week, so I didn't necessarily have to do that. But still, we have one game against Toledo this week. It is going to be on the road, but first, let's look at everyone here. As thankfully, we are maintaining that lead with Pratt, Valdez as well, although it does look like Arizona State is moving up the list a little bit. We might have to schedule something with him very soon. It's good to see us at number 1 on a lot of these guys. We're going to have to find a way to kind of creep up the board here, but I think we can definitely do that. And that means that we can actually bring Valdez in on a visit this week as well. I think, even though there are no complimentary visits or anything like that, still think that's going to be good, and we're going to be able to get a lot of these good guys in pretty early. And since I was able to free up the hours, I think we're going to bring Tritola in on this week as well. Main reason why I want to bring him is because we really, really need a cornerback, and I think we can actually bring him in on a visit right now. Hopefully we'll be able to actually nail him down because I know he's close to his top 3, which means hopefully he's close to committing too. But now let's get through this week against Toledo. Hey, we're undefeated so far. Let's hope we can keep it up even though they're 2-1 themselves. And unfortunately we do end up falling. That is our first loss of the season. But at least it wasn't a conference game. But now that we have some freed up hours, we're going to take Tritola. We're actually going to give the hard sell on him for that football influencer. And even though those grades aren't necessarily great, hopefully it'll actually help out a little bit. But since we do have 45 hours, I think we can schedule one more visit, and that's going to be in a couple weeks against UConn. We'll get a couple other guys in there as well, but it's going to be nice to have a couple of these set up out ahead of time so we can free up some hours for next week. But we are going to get a chance to hop into our first game, and it's going to be against 3-1 Wyoming, who's already played 2 conference games. And they are 2-0. We are a better overall, but we've seen before that really does not matter. So let's go out there, let's see win the first game that we play this season. But early on, it looks like we actually have a chance to score first. And we're on the other side of the 50. We got a couple of minutes left in the first. Let's see if we can get a good run right here. Sutton gets up the middle, ends up picking up 6. Not a bad way to start. Thankfully on 3rd and 1, we have a chance to just be able to run it right up the middle. And despite the fact that we don't have a great average running it, at least we were able to actually get a first down. That's great. So 1st and 10, we're going to have to pick up some bigger plays here. I'm not going to lie. That was kind of weak right there. We need more yards than that as we end up hitting Tanner, who stays up on his feet somehow, ends up picking up the first down. Let's go. Not necessarily pretty, but hey, we're working it downfield here as we end up getting it out to Sutton, who ends up dropping it. That was because that was a bad read by me, but we're still going to be okay here as we end up scrambling out. We're going to have to throw that one out. They were just covering everything. That means that we're going to have to find a hole in this defense right here to be able to pick up the first down as we end up getting out. Let's see if we can get him in. What were they doing in the secondary? Why did you just let him catch that? I was hoping he was going to come back to the ball and we were going to get him, but he just stood there and they didn't do anything. Wyoming. I honestly was sitting there trying to think of an excuse as to why I was going to throw the pick, but hey, let's throw the touchdown instead. Let's see if the defense can have some pretty good success too as we get through. Clip him, and we got the sack for a 4th and 21. And because I know someone's going to ask, yes, we are still on Heisman. Sorry, felt the need to explain that right there. That's okay. I wouldn't have believed it myself. But there we go. We end up getting the ball down to the 6, and we're cooking down here in the red zone. Let's see if we are able to get up by 2 scores as they just blitz. And thankfully we get it out to Tanner, but doesn't get much closer to the end zone. We're going to have to go with that same play, but this time we're going to have to pick up more than 2 yards. So let's see, who is Wolfer? Whoever he is, he's about to get the ball, even though he can't hold on to that. And honestly, I think we're just going to take our 3. I can't be too greedy, right? And the way that I've been playing, there's no guarantee we would have gotten that in the end zone, right? So that's all right. Let's do it. Oh, let's go. Oh my gosh, that wasn't supposed to be a bullet pass. And he can't even hang on to that. I was hoping we were going to lead him downfield just a little bit more. But, hey, shit happens. Am I right? But there we go. Let's get it out. And that gets picked. Well, I don't really have an excuse for that one. Thankfully, the defense holds it to only 3. And now we got 49 seconds to be able to make up for our mistake. Can we do it? Wait to find out. Oh, there we go. No, Duffy, what are we doing? Duffy had a wide open receiver and couldn't hit him. That's rough. But maybe he can hit this one. There we go, Tanner. No, he drops that too. And now 3rd and 10, they're pressing our receivers, so I'm going to take the chance. And there it goes. Let's go. We got Brooks. And look at that. Taking a chance sometimes pays off. And we get in the end zone one more time before half. I'm sorry, but when you come out pressing our receivers, no way that I'm not going to take a chance downfield. As we try to get it up the middle, and we only pick up a couple. All we need is just 4 yards right here, and I think we can get it. And we might be able to just scramble. Oh my gosh, he is way too fast. Never mind. Bro, I thought that we were going to have more than enough time, but not even close, and we're going to have to settle for 3. Again. But you know they're desperate when they're going for it on a 4th and 11. We're up by 2 possessions. 6:45 left. Let's get through their line. We don't. And wow, he gets free and gets down to the 11. Or maybe it was the 12, something like that. Either way, 4th and 7 now. Again. Let's see if we can stop him this time. As there's just a log jam up the middle. We can't get through. And somehow, Durr Jr. ends up getting free. That is legit an awesome name. I'm not going to lie. Let's see if we can just kind of run it here with the Wildcat. Let's get out. Come on, Sutton. Got a little bit of speed, and we barely pick up the 1st. Unfortunately, Sim brings it to a 4th and 8. If we're able to hit this field goal, we're going to be able to go up by 2 possessions again. But I'm going to take my time because the clock's running. Just got to be smart here. And I think we might be able to hit it. Do we have the leg? We barely do, and we get it through for a 10-point lead. But we can end it right here on a 4th and 15. A minute 47 left. Again, still up by 10. They're on our side, or on their side of the field. Let's see if we can get this stop. Oh, man, there we go. I'm glad we were able to tip that. I thought for a second he was going to hit him before the ball got to him, but thankfully not. That allows us to get the ball back. They do have all 3 timeouts, so that means that we're still going to have to be able to pick up a 1st down, as we don't even get close on that one. So let's give this another shot. We might actually have to start looking for a new halfback, because not a big fan of Sutton right now. And I'm going to be dumb and actually throw for it on this one, because why not? Let's see if we can pick up a 1st down. That was a horrible throw by Duffy again, and we might actually have to swap quarterbacks. I know that's a bit of an overreaction because we are 2-1 on the season right now, but at the same time, that is so rough. Are we winning because of him or in spite of him? Either way, this might be the end of the game. We are up by 13, 29 seconds left, 4th and 7. Let's get through. Nope. We end up picking up the stop and we get the ball back and we end the game. And even though we could add a couple more scores, we end up winning 26-13 in a pretty divisive win against a really good conference opponent, at least this season. They actually have a pretty good record. Again, 2-0 in conference, but now 2-1 thanks to us. And Duffy, 323 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he did have 2 interceptions as well, so hey, that's something too. But again, we really need to pick it up in the backfield. Only 2.3? That's extremely rough, but good to see that Brooks and Beverly are really kind of leading the receivers with C and Freeney getting in there too. But again, that accuracy was pretty damn bad. But anyways, good to know that we're 3-1, 1-0 in conference going into this next week. and hopefully we don't get shut out by anyone, but instead, Stephen Pratt ends up committing. Finally, the 5-star tight end I think is going to fit in extremely well. And also Kevin Valdez. We got ourselves 2 pseudo receivers in a way. And Javier Armour, center, let's go. And not only do we get the 3 players to commit, but one of them is the #1 player in this class. Not just that, but we also free up like half our time as well, so we can start going after these guys a little bit harder and a couple other guys too. And we'll be able to bring a lot of these guys in on visits as well, as Manny Shell is going to come in week 7. And we're really going to sell that proximity to home. It's really the only good grade that we have. And again, even though he is a bust, I think we're going to bring Teamer in against them as well. That's going to be another pretty big week, but thankfully we're playing pretty well in this so far. Hopefully we'll actually be able to bring home another win in that. So now with a lot of guys visiting week 7, that means that hopefully we can end up picking up this win on the road against New Mexico, just so we can have a lot more momentum going into week 7. So let's see what ends up happening against New Mexico. Can we stay undefeated in the conference? Thankfully we do, but since we do have the hours, before we look at some other guys, I really want to make sure that we can land some of these guys as well. Now, it doesn't look like any of our matchups are really big ones going forward, so we're going to have to schedule it like this one for Hawaii because we want them to be able to come in as soon as humanly possible. And if we can find an A grade like proximity to home, that would be great. And when I say that we're going to bring guys in on visits, I mean everyone that we possibly can. But again, this is going to be a pretty important matchup against UConn at home. This is actually going to mark the halfway point of our season, so we'll check stats after this game. But again, we need to really focus on this one, be able to make a really good impression on the guys that are going to be visiting this week. And again, UConn is an 80 overall. I feel like we have a pretty good shot here. And it looks like we're going to be starting this game pretty much in the red zone here with a 3-0 lead. Let's see if we can end up finding a way to score here as Napier kind of gets it out there on the bubble. We got a first down to the 6. Really great play right there. Ends up slipping free of his defender and finds a way to get a ton of yards right there. So let's see if we can continue to do it as we do get Napier. Ends up catching it in the end zone. We got ourselves a 2-possession lead. And it looks like we've been really taking care of business, but come on, we have a chance to be able to score one more time before the end of half. And thankfully, we do end up getting it out there. And we got ourselves a chance to be able to get 3 here, as we're going to end up picking up a 27-0 lead going into half. Sorry, I talked slowly through that because I wasn't sure if we're going to make that or not. But this game was pretty much done before it was even started. So, hey, you know what? Let's see if we can tack on another one, and we go up by another score. Looks like the team has really put it together, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I totally understand it is a 3-3 team, but still, this is a team that we definitely would not have beat last season. But putting away teams like this quickly is something that we're still kind of struggling with, as it is now 4th and 8, as we hopefully can get through the line. We don't, but he just overthrows him. And thankfully, that is where the game is going to end. We definitely dominated in that one. I mean, it was 27-0 going into the second half. But again, we put this one away pretty early, and it looks like we actually got it done on the ground as well. Sutton ended up getting over 150 yards and ended up being the star of this game. And I did say earlier in the season that we really need to pick up our ground game, and it looks like that was the case in this one. Duffy, still not too bad, 65% completion, 187 with 3 touchdowns. But again, Sutton, 20 for 168. Didn't score on the ground, but that's going to be okay. I saw Napier actually had a really big 50-something yard run for a touchdown as well. But Sutton did thankfully end up getting one in the receiving game. 1 touchdown with 11 yards. Cian Freeney ended up leading everyone else with 70 and a touchdown. So it's always a really great feeling to see everyone do really well and to see everyone kind of put it together. Nice to see that we can take down teams like that like we weren't able to last season. But let's see. We do end up getting Shelley to end up committing, and unfortunately, he's the only one. The good thing about that is he was a gem, a 4-star one at that, so it's nice that we can actually add him, but unfortunately, we did end up losing a handful of other guys, especially in positions that we really needed. But with our newfound hours, we're really going to have to make sure that we get some of these guys that we have right here, bring them in on visits, but we're also going to have to scout some other guys as well. Good thing is, at least for how long we've been scouting these guys, we already know what they want. So not like it's going to be a huge ask right here. So let's end up bringing them in on visits and being able to max out some of their time as well, because especially as a strong safety, we're going to need someone like Boss. But again, that will allow us to be able to scout a handful of other guys. We do only have 80 hours, so we're going to be a little selective about what we do, as unfortunately we see Singletary is a bust. Now, Chenault, on the other hand, is a 3-star gem at right tackle and someone that I think we're going to need, so let's end up offering him a scholarship and let's start scouting him as soon as possible. Now, just for the fun of it, since we do have 5 extra hours, offer a scholarship to Hendricks. Why not? I mean, again, realistically, I can think of a million reasons why not, but again, halfway point of the season. Our next game is against Fresno State. They are 3-3, and again, it is our half point of the season, which means let's check out our season stats, which look a lot better this season than they did last. Duffy figured it out in the air, only got 3 interceptions this season to 13 touchdowns. Only 1,394 yards, but that's okay. He will definitely pick it up. Sutton, especially because of that last game, has picked it up a bit. 412 yards, averaging 4.5. Napier with that big run in that last game also kind of brought up his average. 4 touchdowns, though. Duffy 1 on the ground. And then Brooks, Cianfrini, and Tanner are all up there as our top 3 receivers. 5 touchdowns for Brooks, which is great. Beverly, 173 with 3 touchdowns. And then Napier and Sutton have a touchdown each as well. Defensively, not really getting as much pressure, especially on the run game, as we did last season, but still, a couple guys with some TFLs. Virgin Morgan and Nasser, both with 7.5 and 5 sacks, which is really incredible. It's unfortunate that they are both seniors, but Carrington with 2 sacks already as a sophomore. He'll be here for a bit. And Batty with 1.5. Cartwright, Nell, and Coates, each with 1 as well. Now, we do only have 4 interceptions this season, but again, that's pretty similar to last season too. But this is a rivalry game, so let's hope that we can come out to be 6-1 on the other side of this week. Well, I don't know if that's happened or not, but we did get a 4-star right guard in Martin Miranda. No one else, and we did end up losing a lot of guys to some other schools, but we did end up winning this week. We end up taking the rivalry, and we're 6-1. And 3-0 in conference. And a handful of these guys that did end up committing to other schools were unfortunately in positions that we needed. But again, frees up 310 hours for us. But again, at least freeing up of some of the hours is going to allow us to be able to look at a couple of these other guys that might be able to help us. But again, only having 400 hours is really going to kind of limit us, unfortunately. But as it sits right now, we only have 1 guy visiting, and that's going to be in week 10. So we really need to pick up the pace, especially considering the fact that we're in week 9, and we don't have the hours to bring anyone in. And look at that, Tritola ends up committing a 4-star corner, and we definitely need DBs. But again, just because we only have 1 guy visiting this week doesn't mean it's not going to be important. It's a 3-star gem, going to be on the offensive line. We need to be able to land him. So let's get into this game against Hawaii. Again, it's going to be at home. I didn't even realize that we just ended up losing that last game, which is unfortunate, but again, a little expected. I wasn't expecting us to only lose 1 game all season, but don't think we're going to lose this one. We're at home against Hawaii. We got to go out there and just really pound them here. But it does not look like things are starting off well, as we have a 3rd and 6 with Hawaii up, unfortunately, by a score. Let's see if we can get out here on a scramble. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Cianfrini gets free. Breaks off his route, and we got ourselves a score to be able to tie it. That was totally the type of play that we really needed, and it'd be really nice to be able to get a very similar one right here, too. As thankfully we get it out to Cianfrini again. He cuts it back upfield for a 1st down on the 36. And that will allow us to take over with 4.5 left. 2nd and 5 down in the red zone. Let's see if we can find a way to pick up a score, as we're going to end up scrambling with Duffy. Big block right there. Thankfully he does not end up fumbling it. We got a 1st down to the 4. So if we're going to finish this off, let's finish it off to Tanner. Just because of that really great block that he had right there. Right? There we go. Thankfully he holds on to it. No, he doesn't. 2nd and goal. But I don't care. He deserves the ball, so we need to find a way to get it out to him. Can he find a way to come in? Yes, he does. Way to go, Tanner. I was going to force that one to him no matter what. I'm sorry. He deserved it. Yes, we very well could have thrown a pick on that, but hey, that's okay. And wow, this has been pretty eventful since we last topped in. 28-14? Incredible. Napier, get open. No, but looks like there's going to be a flag. Please tell me that is going to be pass interference on the defense. Let's go. We get bailed out, but we will definitely take what we can get here. So let's go. 1st and 10. Oh, we went for the fake toss, and unfortunately, they got in the backfield pretty quickly. And you can definitely tell that we need to improve our offensive line. Let's see if we can do that. Another decent run. As you can tell, the offensive line is something we're definitely going to have to improve going forward for sure. Let's see what we can end up doing to be able to pick up a 1st. Sutton finds a way to get up there all the way down to the 1-yard line, and we are 100% in control right here, as we're going to try to just pound it in up the middle. Let's see if our offensive line can deal with it. Well, not necessarily, but hey, they neutralize them enough to be able to just kind of shift in We got ourselves a 3-possession lead. And we have a pretty good chance of putting it away right here. 4th and 1. Let's see if we can get the ball back, especially on their side of the field, and be able to really close the game out. Wow, really bad throw by him. He was going to be wide open too. But thankfully, that's what you get when you play an lower overall, team. So let's go. We take that as we end up going there on the RPO. Cianfrini's got some speed. Gets all the way up to the 20-yard line. And unfortunately, Sim played the rest of that and ended up scoring. So we're up 42-14. Absolutely putting a hurting on this team. And again, honestly, I think that changing the playbook was definitely the right call. Despite the fact that they did just score there, but hey, we only changed the offensive playbook. Either way, let's end up getting this one. One-handed grab, let's go. Doing it in style, Napier. Oh, I thought maybe we can get out and get a score. I know, that is a little selfish, but you know what else is a little selfish? Sending Brooks on a streak and just hitting him right away no matter what. He's getting free. Oh yeah, touchdown. Let's go. Get free, buddy. And we're just running up the score now. I feel bad for Hawaii. But at the same time, you know what? Some teams were doing this on us last season, so why not kind of return the favor right here as they do end up running it. I am surprised by that, and we get them down at the 29. Big play. So much so that it allowed them to score yet again. Maybe I should stay off defense. Or we need to change the playbook. Who knows? And I'm sorry, would I be a dick for doing that one more time? I'm okay with that. That's fine. No. He ain't gonna get that one. But still, you know what? We'll take the win. I understand. Not very sportsmanlike, but who cares? You know what? Feel very proud of this team. We scored in every single quarter, including 2 scores in the second, third, and fourth quarters. Duffy ends up taking the player of the game with 6 touchdowns. He did end up having 2 interceptions, so take that with a grain of salt. But still, 6 touchdowns, almost 300 yards, not bad. Sutton got it working on the ground again. 85 with the touchdown. Really great play. Cianfrini and Brooks both over 100 and both with multiple scores. Cianfrini with 2 and Brooks with 3. Tanner got free on that other one. We got lucky on that, but still. Nice to see these 2 guys producing for sure. So not only are we still 4-1 in conference with actually being in a tie for that second spot to potentially get into the conference championship game, but we're also bowl eligible, so something we didn't have last season is something we're going to have this season. And seeing us improve is always the best feeling, and obviously Damian Gainwell feels the exact same. Halfback 3-star ends up committing. We'd love to see that, as pretty much our entire first round of players that we were looking at are now off the board because either they committed to another school or they ended up coming here. And as you see, we ended up having 5 4-stars and 1 5-star. We still need to get a couple more guys, but still, really great start to the class. And thankfully, that is good enough to put us at top 25 right now, but again, we really need to improve that. But unfortunately, we do only have this week to be able to schedule some guys for a visit because week 12 is our last home game. But unfortunately, some of these guys aren't even in their top 5 yet, so we're just going to have to settle with what we have. That means that Acho and Webb are going to be coming in week 12. That means that Chenault is going to be coming this week against Air Force. So let's go out there and make sure that we land this 3-star gem. Because really, realistically, Air Force is 4-5. We have a really big overall advantage over them again. So make sure we go out there and be able to handle them like we handled Hawaii. Because if we're able to take an early lead like we did against Hawaii, oh, I would have so much more confidence in this team. But it is a scoreless game with only 2.5 left in the half. And thankfully, the halfback screen picks up the first down. Obviously, a very uneventful game so far, but things are about to change right here as we hit Napier. Let's go on the bubble. That was risky, but can he get to the end zone? He does! My guy ends up having a ton of strength there and ends up powering over the free safety. But now we need our defense to really make a big stand here down in the red zone. 30-something seconds left in the half. 1st and 10. Let's get in there and make a big stop. No, really good catch on his part. Thankfully, he did go down inbounds, which means that they had to burn a timeout there, but let's go. One in the backfield, and we aren't able to stop him. Rough. But if that just isn't like San Diego State in a nutshell right there, that's okay though. We got ourselves a 3rd and 6. We just need to pick up one big first down right here, and thankfully we hit Cianfrini, who's got a bunch of speed, and we get up to the 35. Unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize, but that gives us another shot on this next drive. As thankfully, we end up scrambling here, and we're going to pick up a first down. We even get a good block. Can we get out? No, we cannot. Sorry, I'm just kind of terrified to try to slide nowadays because last time I did, he just ended up fumbling because the tackle brought him into a different animation, and it doesn't really matter. What does matter is we're going to end up picking up a first down over to Brooks, and we got it down on the 8-yard line. And that means Napier here with all his speed is going to go on the jet touch pass, and we're going to pick up a big score to the outside, cut it up. Unfortunately, not well enough. 2nd and goal. But that's not to say that we're not going to get into the end zone on this one, as we have plenty of guys wide open. We end up hitting Napier in for another touchdown. But again, it just seems like we're potentially just trading score after score. We're up by the 7 points still, but they have a 3rd and 5 as they just run right up the middle, and we end up stopping them 4th and 2. But it looks like they're going for it on 4th and 2 here. Let's see if we can just stop them right here. We're going to send 6. Oh, and they're just going to run right up the middle. But we end up picking up the stop, and they turn the ball over. That was such a huge stop, and thankfully we had the line to be able to hold them there. So let's see if we can end up picking up another score here. That was a really bad throw, but Brooks picks up 6. We just need to make sure that we continue to hold on to the ball, as Cianfrini back in the corner of the end zone does not get it. But we just need a really short gain right here, and I think we can hit Beverly on the drag to be able to pick it up. We do. Oh, and he's got a score. No way anyone's going to stop him. They were too far back. And with the 2-score lead, and with them 4th and 10, we might be able to put them away right here, as we don't get the interception. He was just looking lackadaisical right there. I don't know what he was doing. He just kind of let him catch it. And now it's back to a 1-score lead. And we had the 2-minute warning to still contend with as well. But some damn good blocks as we end up getting 9 yards on that one as we push it to the 2-minute. And right now, we just need a first down. Let's get them to waste their first time out. Really nice right there. Thankfully, Sutton powers through, and we got a first. So one more first down basically ices the game. As we get one up the middle, way to go, Sutton, and we get down for a gain of like 8. Excuse me, make that 9. 1 timeout left. We just need this first down. We ice it, just hang on to the ball. I think we got this game in hand. Maybe not the prettiest victory, especially at the end, but a win is a win, 21-14. And we stay 5-1 in conference, and we have a chance to be able to make the conference championship game. And don't get me wrong, 206 is not necessarily great, but 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I had a lot of doubts about Duffy coming into the season, but he has definitely put all of those to rest. So obviously, we're going to continue to ride with him for the rest of the season. He's a senior anyway, so it's going to be his last one. Picked up 8 on the ground. Sutton, 78, average 5.2. Looking a lot better. Napier had the 2 touchdowns, 89 yards, but he was the one to end up leading everyone. And seeing 8-2 underneath our school, oh, is a really beautiful sight, I'm not going to lie. And it is enough to be able to get Chenault to commit a right tackle 3-star gem. That's going to be great. And obviously, unfortunately, we do not have the ability to bring anyone else in on a visit because this is going to be the last week. So we just have Webb and Acho who are going to be visiting this week. But that's okay because that means that we can just put maximum amount of hours on pretty much everyone that we have. So again, even though we do only have 2 guys coming this week, it's still going to be a pretty important game. And it's Colorado State, another divisional matchup. They're a little bit better than some of the other teams that we've been playing, but still feel confident that we can come out with a win and still only have 1 loss in conference play. But unfortunately, first time we come into the game, I mean, we are down in the red zone, but we are down 7-0. That is not what we want to see, as we do end up almost being picked off, but Napier does not be able to hold that one in, which is unfortunate. But again, I was very close to being picked off, so I'm just really glad about that. So let's hit him on the bubble out there. Unfortunately, they read that too, and we have yet to gain any meaningful yards at all. 3rd and 10. Wonder who we can actually hit here for the score. Oh, let's go. That was not the best throw, and he overthrew him. We would have thrown that more on a bullet pass. I think we could have got it. And we are unfortunately going to have to settle for the 3 here if we can hit it, which thankfully we do. But thankfully we do have a chance to actually get more points before the end of the half. Question is, how are we going to do that? Hopefully here with a big toss to Napier. Is he going to go all the way? Oh, he might get stopped. He does, all the way down to the 6-yard line. Just that little bit more speed, we would have had that. But still, we are down in the red zone. We have a chance to be able to get some points here before the end of the half, as I'm going to take my time here because we don't want to give them too much time, but at the same time, we want to get in the end zone, and we do only have 1 timeout. So Let's snap this. Oh, there we go. Oh, never mind. My bad for being cocky on that. That's okay, though. We're going to hit Beverly on the out. He does not hang on to it. That has been a big problem for this team. Pretty much this entire season, I'm not going to lie, even in some of the other games. Still, 3rd and goal here. Let's find a way to get in. There we go. Wolfer! No, he gets pushed out at the 1. But no way I'm settling for a field goal. They're leaving a wide open hole up the middle. So let's make sure we hit that. We do. Thankfully, we end up getting a touchdown before the end of half and we go up. But now on defense, we got a 3rd and 7. We need to preserve this lead. They are just barely... Oh, no! Someone get to him! Wow, I was not expecting the quarterback run and they get the first. I was going to say they're on the border of field goal territory, but now it doesn't even matter. 2nd and 2, let's get in there. We need to stop the run. Yeah, just couldn't shed the guy that was blocking him, but that's okay. 1st and 10, we can still pick this up right here. They looked like he went a little early, but that's okay. We end up still stopping him for only a gain of 2. So let's go 2nd and 8. We need to stop him right here. Why not? They're going to go, oh, for the play action, and thankfully we light him up in the backfield. So we find ourselves in a very important 3rd and 8 again. Let's see if we can stop him this time. We have the line to be able to do so. Look at that. There we go. He ends up throwing it out, and they're going to have to settle for the field goal and tie it up. But if we can find a way to make him shank this kick, that would be even better. And be able to keep the lead, that would be incredible. And thankfully, he does. He pushes it left, and we got ourselves the ball back. It looked like a good hold, but Finkel just boots it. That's okay, though. We got ourselves a 1st and 10 here, but now we no longer have the lead. So let's find a way to be able to get another score. Freeney gets free of his DB and gets it down to the 46. Now, we aren't necessarily looking for a big play, but if they give us one, we'll take it. Speaking of, let's go. How do you not cover Napier? We get in the end zone, baby. We take another lead, but they got plenty of time to score again. And the game is going to leave it up to me, which means that we're going to have to find a way to score on our offense one more time before the end of this game. So let's get in there. 2:29 left. 3 timeouts for both teams. Let's get in there. Let's pick up a stop as they pick up 4 on that little pass. And they're going to play a little bit of hurry up too. They want to try to get to midfield at least before the 2-minute warning. Thankfully, we get it out there and he ends up having to throw it away. Honestly, the coverage that we've been having in this game is actually pretty damn good. So 3rd and 6, we need to pick up a big stop here before they even get close to midfield. They empty the backfield. Let's get in there. There we go. Really good hit. 4th and 6, and they're going to have to go for it. And I think we have a really good chance of being able to stop them. 4th and 6. Let's get in there, Nasser. There we go. Bull rush him. Get through. There we go. We end up picking up the sack, and I think that's going to seal it. Never mind, I shouldn't say that. I totally forgot they have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning still. So let's see if a little bit of trickery is going to help as we end up going with the fake jet touch pass. And we get it up the middle. Sutton, ends up running into the guy, and that is going to be a decent gain and a 3rd and 4. And I totally keep guessing wrong on what it is. It is a 3rd and 3, and we're running right up the middle. They're giving us a wide open lane again. No way I'm not going to take it as they end up stopping Sutton. And unfortunately now, we're going to have to find a way to hold them out of the end zone as we take that and we go up by 7. But I really do not want to play overtime. So let's go, guys. Can we do it? Can we get a stop here? There we go. Really great sack again, and our defense is really stepping up. Virgin Morgan has turned into a really great defensive lineman for us. So strong. There we go. Beasley with the pick. That's what I'm talking about. Now just make sure you go down, and let's take this victory, finally. And thankfully that interception does seal it, and we end up winning 20-13. Really big game right there, and again, keeps us with only 1 loss in the conference. And this time, Napier ends up winning player of the game, 144 and a touchdown. And Duffy, again, not necessarily the best game, but 287, a touchdown and an interception, and just enough to be able to allow us to win. Sutton averaged 4.2 and a touchdown, 73 yards, and Napier, again, player of the game with 144. But again, I feel like our defense was definitely holding it down there at the end of the game. Virgin Morgan with 3 TFLs and 3 sacks. How is he not player of the game? So as we advance into the next week, hopefully we'll see some commits, and hopefully we'll actually see us near the top of the conference standings. And unfortunately, no commits, and one did commit elsewhere, but we're up to number 23 in the nation. I know you can barely see that because I'm kind of covering it, But damn, already? And kind of what I expected here. Virgin Morgan with the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week, and he definitely deserves it after that. But honestly, what's it going to take to get these guys to sign? We are hard selling now, so hopefully we'll be able to get these guys before the end of the season and it doesn't push into the offseason. But as we get through the last game of our season, hopefully we can pick up a win against Utah State. I realize I did not check the conference standings, but we'll see after this game anyways. And look at that, Travis Acho ends up committing. Why does it look like he's got some gray hair? Unfortunately, it is only him, though. And we ended up losing, and that pushes us out of the top 25, and more than likely out of potentially being in the conference championship as Napier wins Player of the Week, 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Unfortunately, not enough to win, though. And unfortunately, it looks like we would be in a tiebreaker with Nevada, and unfortunately, they may actually hold that tiebreaker over us, so we'll definitely see. And that wasn't even a close game against Utah State. Are you kidding me? We ended up losing by a good amount. Duffy didn't play horrible. We just got nothing on the ground, unfortunately. And thankfully, as we look here, a lot of the guys haven't signed, unfortunately. But we are number 1 on a lot of these lists, and a couple of these guys haven't even gotten scholarships from other schools, so hopefully we can end up landing them too. And we'll definitely see about the Nevada thing as we advance in this next week and see that we either did not get to the conference championship, but first we see that D'Angelo Webb right end ends up committing. That's great to get. And no one else is committed elsewhere. And unfortunately, most of the guys on the list that are left are only 2 stars, and especially in our needs, that's really all that it is. So we found a couple other guys that we're going to end up putting on our board, but hopefully we can find at least another 3-star too. So unfortunately, as you see, it was Nevada that ended up winning the tiebreaker over us. So it's going to be Boise State versus Nevada in the Mountain West Conference Championship. Hopefully we'll get there next season. So unfortunately, we are going to have to sim through this bye week. That's okay, though. We're going to have to focus on some recruiting, and then, of course, we're going to have a bowl game coming up as well. I'm excited to see which one that's going to be, as Canty ends up committing as well. 3-star free safety. We got Frank Gee, fullback, and unfortunately just those 2. But who knows? Maybe once we advance another week, we'll get another couple. Saw a couple other guys commit to other schools, but that's okay. We have a pretty decent class right now, as Makasu ends up committing 3-star right outside linebacker, and Kane, I am never going to pronounce that, free safety. And man, even if Duffy had a better season, it's going to be hard to beat 48 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions, not going to lie. And it does look like we're going to get the Guaranteed Rate Bowl against Oklahoma State. That's going to be a fun game. So I think with the success that we had this season, I know we didn't get the conference championship, but we had a much better season than we had last season. I think we're going to keep the 2 guys that we have right now and hope for a better outcome next season. But it is early National Signing Day, so we get to see some dev trades, as Sue only comes in as a normal, Canty a normal as well. Same with Rex Steiner. D is a normal, but Pratt ends up coming in as a star. I was hoping that he was going to be an elite. Valdez is an impact. We do have an elite with our center Armor, though. That's great. A great name for it, too. Shelley is a star. An elite on Miranda. Our offensive line is going to be stacked going forward. Tritola is an elite as well, a cornerback. Impact as our power back. Chenault is an impact as well. Same with Acho, and Webb is just normal, but again, good 14 guys there, a couple elites. So hopefully that good luck carries over into this game against Oklahoma State. Guaranteed Rate Bowl, we are rated a little higher than them, so hopefully that is going to spell success for us, but we'll definitely see as we get into this game. But you can tell we're not in Mountain West Conference play anymore. Man, we're getting beat 21-7 right now, and this is the first time we're able to jump in. We're in the second half. Are you kidding me? Come on, we should have been able to get some more time in this game as Wolford picks up 3 on that drag route, but we need more yards than that. I think Cianfrini on the drag route might be pretty good here. He's always got some pretty decent speed. He gets it, turns it upfield, and we got it first and goal on the 3-yard line. We need to be able to find a way to score right now, because down 2 scores in the second half is not where we want to be. It's not where we can be either. Oh no, we're going to have to throw that out, and we can't get rid of it, unfortunately. We get sacked, and now we're in some serious trouble right here. We might not even be able to get in the end zone, and that is not what we need at this point in the game, as we end up, unfortunately, throwing it out of reach, and that's going to be a 3rd and goal. These guys are just getting some really good pressure. I have to commend them. And again, we're not in Mountain West Conference play anymore, as we end up getting it out to Brooks, and he is not going to catch it, and we're going to have to settle for the 3. Never mind. We end up missing that. God damn it. What the fuck? No more mistakes. We realistically cannot afford any more here. As I think we're just going to pick this up with our feet. Let's go, Duffy. Yeah, just get out of bounds. Don't risk getting hit. So let's go. 7 minutes left. We're only down by 2 scores. Man, this ain't that bad. As Brooks gets up, and he ends up making it a 1-score game. Let's go, defense. And it looks like they held. Let's go. 3rd and 1. All we need is just the first down right here. That is not where I wanted to go. But honestly, I'm going to go for it. I have a lot of faith in my receivers, especially Napier right here, who ends up getting nudged. No fucking way. And guys, that's why you need more than one read. Either way here. Let's go. It's 3rd and 6. Let's pick up the first down. There we go. Sutton, let's go. Great play, great catch and run down to the 31. So we just need someone to get free here. And we're only down by 1 score, am I right? No, that's not where I wanted to throw it, but no fucking shot. This defense has been so good all day, and then they let something like that just get free? Let's go, Sutton. So let's go. We need a big stand right here. We have all 3 timeouts, so we're going to have to find a way to get the ball back no matter what, because we're not going to end this game on a tie as we get a big stop right there for only a gain of 2. So let's stay stellar on defense right here. They go for another run. I am not expecting that, and they get up to a 3rd and 1. So I think it's time to send 6 right here. Let's just get it right up the middle. Let's jam them. Let's not allow them to get the first down. As they go for the run. Oh my gosh. And we aren't able to stop them. We need to find a way to stop the clock now. Obviously, they should wind it down right here. But they don't. They go for another play. And thankfully, we stop them. 2nd and 10. Let's keep it up. Somehow they went for a hurry-up offense when it was the 2-minute warning. But that's okay. Oh my gosh. It's not what I meant to do. And they end up scoring, so let's go, offense. What I get for clicking onto the wrong guy, but hey, you know what? That's my mistake, and I will improve that from time to time. But we're not going to improve that as we end up getting sacked for a loss of like 13. Yikes. Come on. We need some big yards right here, especially at the end of the game. Come on, guys. Let's go. Great catch by Brooks. And he ends up dropping it. Wow. That is a very unfortunate play. Now 3rd and 23. Let's go. We hit the halfback out of the backfield. Sutton gets out for a 4th and 3. So let's go RPO. I need to trust Brooks over here. Let's go. Great bubble. And he gets out to the sideline. And gets up to the 49. Tried to push it out there, but we just could not do it. But that's okay. Again, first down right here. Let's get him out. Great pass to Napier. Gets down the sideline. Gets pushed out at the 19. We're looking good right now. Let's just keep it that way. So we scramble out to the right. And thankfully we throw that one away. So everyone's hot right now. Let's see if we can find the right receiver to be able to pick up the first down. He throws it out of reach. That was a for sure first down, and he ends up botching it, unfortunately. And we can't even get that one out. 4th and 10. And unfortunately, that brings us down to potentially our last play. As we hit, no, that is just wide, and Duffy's inaccuracy comes back to haunt us again. And unfortunately, the defense could not get us the ball back, and that is the end of the game. A very winnable bowl game that would have actually pushed up our prestige a little bit. Ends up becoming a loss as Zane Flores, their quarterback, ends up getting player of the game with 185 yards. And Duffy, 262, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Not a horrible game, but not enough to win. Sutton averaged 8 with 89 yards. I don't know why we didn't run more. And Sutton was the only one with over 75 yards with 87 and a touchdown. Brooks and Napier were touchdowns of their own. But unfortunately, that loss does sting a little bit. And now we're just going to have to fast forward through the rest of this offseason to be able to see if we can sign anyone else from the transfer portal. But before we do so, let's take a look at the stats, as Duffy actually had a pretty good season. Over 3,000 yards, 32 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. Sutton almost had 1,000 yards despite the fact that he started off really slow. 884 with 7. Duffy had 2, and so did Napier. Gerald Kidd actually had a touchdown as well, only averaged 2. He might actually be our starting halfback next season. Cianfrini and Brooks over 800, 6 touchdowns and 10 for Brooks. Napier over 500 with 7 touchdowns himself. He is going to be probably the number 2 receiver next season behind Cianfrini. But unfortunately, we are going to be losing guys like Tanner and Sutton next season. But we need a big shout out to this defense, though, because Virgin Morgan, definitely the best defensive player on this team. 10 TFLs, 15 sacks. Are you kidding me? Nasser ended up having 10 of his own, but it is very unfortunate that we're going to be losing them next season. But they really developed into some great players. Because Beasley ended up having 4 interceptions on the season, Nowell with 2, and also Latuli with 1, and Buxton as well. Latuli's going to be the only one that is not going to be here next season. So we'll have a pretty good secondary. Decent at least. So it looks like Clemson ended up beating Georgia in the national championship game 28-23. It actually sounds like that could be a real national championship. So good for them. Congratulations. I'm really hoping that that's going to be us in a matter of a year or two, but we'll definitely see. We're getting there. 9-4 this season. We'll take it. But unfortunately, we do see a handful of guys that are going to be leaving. I don't even want to look at those guys that want to transfer, but man, some really good ratings on these guys, especially Sutton with that 86. And Nasser as well. Duffy is going to be gone. So we're going to have a brand new team next season. But we would like to have all of these guys stay here, as hopefully we can get Bayer to come back. We do, thankfully. Now, Nowell's going to be a really big player to have as well, especially at strong safety. But he is going to be gone, and that is rough. Bucky doesn't want to stay either, but come on, Wagner. Maybe you'll end up staying on our end? Absolutely not. So while that's not ideal, we do get Danny Marcus to end up committing. That's great, another 3-star. And unfortunately, as you can see, no one ended up getting drafted. We need to get up that board just to make sure we up that pro potential. But here's the moment of truth. Is there anyone in the portal that actually wants to come to our school that's good enough from California? And it looks like we're locked out on so many guys. A lot of deal breakers as well, so let's go with who we can go with. Obviously, Armani Arnold is a really good option here, especially at corner. We have a right end, Carruthers, which is going to be great. So we're going to be able to potentially find some needs here. But we are going to stay away from anyone under a 3-star, to be honest with you. And hopefully we'll be able to get some of these guys too. So we have 450 hours. Let's scout some of these guys, see if it's even worth to bring them in. And honestly, Armani Arnold could actually be pretty damn good. So let's bring him in. Carruthers was definitely interested, and he looks like he could be good too, so let's offer him a scholarship. And honestly, I really like this Kentrell Graves guy. I think he might be one guy that we really focus on. 90 strength, 80 run block power, 81 pass block power. He can develop into someone really good, I think. So now we're spread out to some other guys and a couple of guys coming in on visits this week. Hopefully we can land these guys and be able to get these guys down the road. A lot of them are only in their top 8, so we're not able to bring them in on a visit yet. And thankfully, Keegan Tobin ends up committing to the school 3-star left end. But now that these guys are ready for some visits, we have 405 hours. I think we can bring every single one of them in. Even if we don't necessarily know exactly everything they want, if there's something that's pretty good, like the championship contender here, we can just sell them on that for the visit. Now, unfortunately, we do have to hold off on visits with these 3 guys right here, only because, again, we don't even have anything on Graves, so we don't want to take too much of a gamble, especially when we have a couple weeks left. So hopefully, as we get into week 3, we're going to see a couple more commits here. We're number 1 on a lot of boards, but unfortunately, we're not able to close anyone out. So now we have every single person scheduled on a visit that we want. We have the maximum amount of hours on them, with the exception of Shaw here, because we just kind of ran out. So I feel really confident about this. We're number 1 on pretty much everyone's board except for Carruthers. I feel like we can get a ton of commits here. And hopefully this is one of many. Armani Arnold, cornerback. Dylan Labra... something, left end. Kentrell Graves, left tackle. Henry Davis III, left end. And unfortunately, it's just those 4, but we still have another week. And unfortunately, we did lose Carruthers to Stanford, but who can blame them? So this is everyone we have left. We got the maximum amount of hours on them, and hopefully after this one, we're going to see that they ended up choosing our school, as it looks like San Jose State's coming up on Shaw. Martinson, it looks like we have a really good advantage over UTEP. Strauss is pretty close as well. And Ben is pretty much going to commit to us no matter what. And thankfully, we end up getting Shaw. We get Martinson. We also get Strauss, and we also get Ben. We got a 24-player class here. But unfortunately, it was only good enough for 29th in the nation. But still, not bad, and still number 1 in Mountain West Conference. And now we get a chance to see everyone's depth traits. So we got Shaw, who is a normal. We also have Martinson, who's a normal. Same with Strauss. Ben, but he's a kicker. That's fine. Tobin is an impact. Mark is impact. Sue is a normal, same with Canty. Rex Steiner, same thing, and I know we've seen a lot of these guys already. But we have yet to see some of the transfers, like Webb, also Arnold, La Babrera, who are all normal, with the exception of Graves, who is an impact, and Davis, who is a normal. So, a lot of normal guys from the transfer portal, but still, a lot of the other guys that we ended up getting are going to be really good, including a couple of elites. So it's time for position changes, and if you're looking at our wide receiver room, man, we have a lot of guys, and a lot of speedy guys too. But look at our halfbacks, all we got is Gerald Kidd. So that's rough. That means that we're going to have to move one or two guys, and honestly, Kevin Valdez, a freshman, comes in, 75 overall wide receiver, 97 speed, 96 acceleration, goes all the way up to a 77 as a halfback, and I think we're going to have to move him over there. And honestly, I was looking at Pringley to be able to move over to halfback potentially, but he actually goes up to a 70 as a strong safety, and we definitely need that for sure. And in fact, Marquise Berry as well. We have a very full wide receiver room. May as well switch some of them to defense, and he actually becomes a pretty decent strong and free safety, but let's go with the strong safety. We need some more of those too. Now, honestly, I think that we can actually move Rainey back to halfback. He is only a 72. I get it, he was a 75 fullback, but I think Guy and Heim are going to be totally fine here. And look at that, Canty actually comes in at a 75 overall to start, which is really incredible. Now, Javier Armour, who's the one who's an elite center, actually goes up to a 77 as a left guard, and we could definitely use someone to back him up there. Now, he might not be starting this season, but Barron is going to be graduating at the end of this year, hopefully with that 88 overall and still some training results to come. Hopefully he can get drafted, but still, Armour's going to be a great backup and also someone who's going to come in and fill a spot when he's gone. What's awesome is that Miranda actually comes in at a 75 overall as well and is going to be a great backup. And Chenault, only a 66 overall, but still not a bad player to have, and actually does go up to a 67 as a guard, but I think we're going to keep him as a tackle. Now, we are loaded at left end, but unfortunately, we see we only have two players as right ends, and the max one is a 69 overall, Stoneburner. So that means we're going to have to move someone over. And obviously, we have a couple of seniors here that we can move over, but I want to move someone over that I think is actually going to make a pretty big impact right away, and we'll start. So we're going to take Eric Vincent and put him over as a right end. I mean, looking at it, our defensive line is actually really young. Ibrahim is a sophomore. So is Vincent, and we actually have two sophomores at D-tackle too with Naylor and Strickland. I think we're going to be set there for quite some time. Now, Gentry is actually a 78. I'm interested to see what happens with training results, but he might be able to jump coats for a left outside linebacker. Again, he was a really great recruit and one that I think is going to make a big difference on this team. Now, Lehman is not going to be able to make it up to a 79, I don't think. But again, we'll have someone that's going to be really good there to be able to back up as a middle linebacker. And then, of course, we got Sue who came in, and we also have Claybrooks and Strauss, all mid to upper 60s, but again, they will develop over time. Now, I think that we're probably going to have to redshirt Tritola. Again, he is an elite. He's a 74 overall, and looking at the rest of our room, we're really going to have to recruit heavy for corners because everyone's an upperclassman. But again, he is going to be great, but we just need to develop him a little bit. So thankfully, we do go up to a 2-star school. That's awesome, and we get a chance to see our training results. Which, do we go up? We are up to an 86 overall right now, which is awesome. Our left guard Barron is up to an 89. Beasley is an 87. But let's look around the rest of the roster. As we actually see that Mama actually goes up above Davis and Rambo. Although Rambo does look like he's got a little bit more speed and some agility, but who's going to be the best one to put out there? Because even though we have O'Neal at an 82 and Tupuola Johnson as an 80 overall, maybe we can throw one of these guys into the fire and hopefully it'll actually work out for us. Other than that, we got Kidd who went up to an 82, which is really, really great. Cianfrini is a 99 speed, 98 acceleration. Now he's going to be really fun next season. An 84 overall. Some of these guys go up as well. Hennessy and Farrell going up to a 77 and a 73 respectively. East at a 73 too. Now Canty, wow, goes up to an 81 as a tight end. He is going to be our starter going forward. That's awesome. Garbett jumps Vernon up to an 85. Barron again at 89. Biamiri is an 86 overall. Galladay is an 81. And Holek is an 82. Our line is going to be much better this year than it was last year. Maragos goes up to an 82. Vincent an 80. Naylor an 82. And Strickland is a 79. Again, that young defensive line that is going to develop really well. Gentry goes up to an 84 and might actually get this start over Coates. I'm actually thinking about that. I think it might actually be worth it. Now, Cartwright is an 82. Lehman and Bishop are up to a 77. Bishop might end up overtaking Lehman. as well. Cook is a 79 overall with Clay Brooks right on his heels at a 77. Of course, our cornerback room looks damn good this season. Although, again, we're going to have to really scout for more. But 87, 84, 84, 82, and 80. No one under an 80. That's awesome. Cheeseman is up to a 79, and we got Pringley at a 79 as well. We got a pretty young defense, but again, they look really good as sophomores. They're going to be incredible in a couple of years as seniors. And of course, the yearly tradition of asking players to leave. And unfortunately, this year, I think we have to do that. We have a really stacked receiver room. I think Favre needs to go, unfortunately, and same with McMillan. Oh man, we tried so hard to get Polk to end up coming to our school. It would be just a shame to let him go, but he is a 67 free safety. I don't feel like we have a lot of depth there. So honestly, as much as I hate to admit it, I think we're going to have to go for Brewington. We already have a couple good tight ends, and we have a couple guys that would actually be able to slot in well as tight ends. So we're going to get that down to 85, and we're going to have to just deal with that. So before we end up finishing this season off, I do want to go to the depth chart because I'm going to totally forget to do it before next season if I don't do it right now. So honestly, I think Rambo is going to have to replace Tupuola, Johnson. And honestly, I think we're going to put at number 1 on the depth chart. Doesn't seem smart, I know. Poor O'Neal hasn't really done anything in his career. But I kind of feel like rolling with someone who could actually develop into a better one. Now, obviously, we're going to keep Kidd there as well. Fullbacks are fine, same with receivers. But as we go to our left outside linebackers, Cook is up to an 86, don't get me wrong, but I want Gentry out there. So those are going to be the changes that we make for next season. I feel much better about next season than I did about this one, and we still went 9-4. Unfortunate that we ended up losing our bowl game, but still, pretty successful season all around. And again, we got a really good class coming in. Maybe not a top 25 one yet, but we'll definitely get there. We're getting a little bit better. So we'll look at the players that we're going to end up scouting next season in the next episode, and hopefully season 4, we can at least get to the conference championship and maybe be able to crack the CFP. We'll definitely see all in due time, but we'll definitely find out in the next episode. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go down and drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next season.